Today we have another exciting build. This build is aimed at 4K video editing, and they figured, well, as long as they were going to be editing 4K, they might as well game at it. Today we've got a Ryzen 7 1700, which will be overclocking, as well as a GTX 1080 Ti. I'm also really excited to do this build because the people that this is going to made another series that I think is just one of the funniest things ever on YouTube, although it does get a little creepy later on in the series.
Your sandwich is my king.
In terms of parts, we have our Ryzen R7 1700, which will be overclocking probably to around 3.8 GHz just to keep temps a little bit on the comfortable side. We also have 32 gigs of Crucial Ballistics Elite gaming memory. The gaming is very important. To cool this all down, we'll be using the Wraith cooler from an FX 8350, which will be more than adequate. We of course have our GTX 1080 Ti. This is the Amp Extreme Edition, and don't worry, we've modded the back plate on this one as well to hook up to the VRM. In terms of storage, we have our boot SSD, 2 terabytes for their Steam library. It's huge, multiple hundreds of games. And for all their footage storage needs, they already have their own hard drives that they'll be adding into this. To connect everything together, we have our MSI Tomahawk B350 motherboard, a personal favorite of mine, plus it was on sale. So, to power everything, we have our EVGA 600 watt bronze power supply. This is a power supply that I bought with zero cash just from folding at home. I can't stress it enough, if you fold at home, you can get free power supplies, free motherboards, free cases, and a bunch of other swag. And last but not least, we have a budget case, the Corsair 100R. My instructions were that performance was the only thing that mattered, and looks came second, if at all. everything is built. It runs Cinebench. The overclock is probably 1 or 2 voltage steps higher than it needs to be, but it is for sure going to be rock solid and stable. So now we are presented with a couple options here. This 3-slot graphics card I am absolutely not comfortable with just shipping as is. If I were to pick this case up 1 foot and drop it, the card would probably rip the cooler away from the PCB or tear out that PCI slot. So I definitely don't want to just ship this as is. So I have a couple options here. First, I can fill this with cardboard boxes or 3D print some braces to go in here and hold everything steady. That's certainly one way to do it. Option number 2 would be to take out the graphics card, include it in the box, and have it padded so the PCB where the slot sticks out from the cooler doesn't bump into anything, crack, or get damaged. Now, since the second option wouldn't make much of a good video, I'm going to go for option number 1, where we fill this case up with stuff so that nothing can bend, move, or anything like that.